In the heart of West Africa, where emerald forests whisper ancient songs, a people rose from the soil of destiny. Their hands shaped gold not just into ornaments, but into identity. Their drums spoke in the tongue of thunder, and their spirit would forge one of the greatest empires Africa would ever know, the Ashanti Empire. For centuries, these lands were home to scattered Akan clans, hunters, farmers, traders, living beneath the shadow of a mightier power, Denkira, the dominant state that demanded tribute in gold and slaves. But within these forests, something stirred. A vision of unity whispered among the trees, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The Akan people, children of the forest and the sun, were bound by lineage and language, but divided by loyalty. Each state had its own stool, its own chief, its own pride. Yet they all believed in the same sacred truth, that power does not belong to men, but to the stool, the soul of the people. And among these clans, one would soon rise to change everything. The Oyoko clan of Kumasi, their leader, a man of vision and courage, Osei Tutu. And beside him, a mysterious priest whose power seemed to reach the heavens, Okomfo Enoki. It is said that Enoki was not a man of mere flesh. He could call rain, tie oaths with thunder, and summon spirits with a single word. To Osei Tutu, he spoke of a dream, a confederation of Akan states united under one sacred stool, bound not by chains of fear, but by the spirit of destiny. Our strength lies not in gold, he said, but in the bond that gold represents, unity. And so, beneath the great Odum tree in Kumasi, the chiefs gathered. They placed their swords into the earth, a symbol of surrender to unity, and swore loyalty not to a man, but to the golden stool that Enoki would call from the heavens. Then it happened. As Enoki raised his hands to the sky, a hush fell over the forest. Thunder rolled through the mountains, and before the eyes of men, the golden stool, carved from pure gold and bathed in light, descended gently onto Osei Tutu's lap. They said it was not made by man. It carried the sunsum, the soul of the Ashanti people, past, present, and unborn. From that moment, the Ashanti Empire was born, not with conquest, but with covenant. But no dream is born without struggle. Denkira, the overlord that once demanded their golden sons, could not accept the rise of Kumasi. War came like a storm through the forest. Osei Tutu's warriors, disciplined and fearless, met the Denkira in the Battle of Fayes. Swords clashed, drums roared, and the golden banners of the Ashanti shone through the smoke. When the battle ended, the Denkira were broken. Their king fled, and the Ashanti, once subjects, stood as masters of their own destiny. It was the first great victory of a nation that would never kneel again. With victory came vision. Osei Tutu and Enoki built the capital at Kumasi, a city planned with precision and grace, streets radiating from the palace like veins from the heart. Here the Asantewaa, the king, ruled not as a tyrant, but as the guardian of the stool. Every chief ruled his land, yet all swore loyalty to the stool in Kumasi. This was the genius of Ashanti, unity through respect, strength through structure. Osei Tutu declared, "As long as the stool stands, Ashanti shall stand. But if the stool falls, the nation shall fall with it." Trade flourished. Gold flowed like sunlight through the markets. Craftsmen shaped ornaments that glowed like captured fire. Kente weavers wove symbols of wisdom into cloth. The empire began to breathe, strong, proud, alive. But destiny has its price. In battle near the river Pra, Osei Tutu was struck down by an enemy arrow. The forest fell silent. Their king was gone. Yet his dream endured. The stool still stood. The chiefs still swore upon it. And Enoki's words echoed through time. The body dies, but the soul of Ashanti does not die. thus ended the life of the first Asantewaa and began the immortality of the Ashanti nation. After the passing of Osei Tutu, the empire did not fall into chaos. It found order. For Osei Tutu had built a throne, not of power alone, but of purpose. And onto that throne came a ruler of unmatched vision, Opoku Ware I, the warrior builder. He was not content to inherit an empire. He sought to expand it. Under his reign, Ashanti's influence stretched far beyond Kumasi. North to the savannas, south to the coast, east and west across the forest. The Golden Stool's shadow touched all. Every campaign was measured, disciplined, and strategic. The mark of an empire that fought not for greed, but for order. Opoku Ware built fortresses, established new trade centers, and perfected the Ashanti Army's organization, a machine of unity. The Ashanti Army was not chaos. It was choreography. Each division had its place. The advance guard, swift and fierce. The main body, steady as stone. The rear guard, protectors of the stool. And the wing divisions, wrapping the enemy like the arms of an eagle. War for the Ashanti was sacred, an offering to ancestors in the stool. Before every battle, priests poured libations to the spirits of old warriors. Victory was not luck, it was legacy. Under Opoku Ware, Kumasi became the beating heart of West Africa's trade. Gold flowed from the rivers, kola nuts from the north, and slaves from war spoils. But beyond trade, Kumasi became a symbol, the city of discipline and dignity. The royal palace, surrounded by carved pillars and golden ornaments, became a place of awe. The Asantewa's court was both fearsome and elegant, where kings of vassal states bowed and disputes were settled by law and reason. In this forest city, order ruled over chaos. Even the humblest subject knew, the stool watched all.
The finest grains from the south.
We have spices from the east to offer.
Ashanti's wealth flowed through invisible veins, trade routes that reached far beyond the forest. Northward, they traded with the Hausa and Mossi kingdoms. Westward, with the Banda and Gyaman. Southward, their gold reached European forts along the coast. But while Europeans dealt in coins, the Ashanti dealt in dust. Powdered gold weighed with the precision of justice. Gold was not just wealth, it was identity, the sacred gift of the earth, a symbol of divine favor. It shone in their jewelry, their stools, their hearts. The Ashanti celebrated not only power, but spirit. Their festivals were living history, a conversation between the living and the dead. At Akwesasade, the Asantewaa sat upon the stool, receiving homage as priests invoked the names of kings long gone. To the Ashanti, ancestors were not memories. They were presence. Every drumbeat was their heartbeat. Every festival, a bridge between the seen and unseen. Their art, their kente cloth, their goldsmithing, all spoke one truth. We are not conquered, we are complete. The Ashanti Empire was not a dictatorship. It was a confederation, a balance between independence and unity. Each state had its chief, but all were bound by oath to the Golden Stool. The Asantewaa was first among equals, the living embodiment of unity. If the stool spoke, all obeyed. If the stool was insulted, all rose in defense. It was this balance, not fear, but reverence, that gave Ashanti its strength. No empire in West Africa commanded loyalty like this. Every Ashanti king knew, power without spirit is hollow. The stool was guarded not only by soldiers, but by priests who watched over its spiritual sanctity. No man could sit on it, not even the king. It belonged only to the soul of the nation. In the stillness of night, it was said one could hear the stool hum, the voices of ancestors in harmony with time. Such was the heart of Ashanti, not merely an empire of gold, but of faith. For nearly a century, the Ashanti Empire stood unchallenged, feared, respected, admired. But as its gold reached the coast, so too did whispers from across the sea. Whispers of strangers with strange weapons. Strangers who would test not the Ashanti's power, but their pride. The forest drums of glory would soon beat for war once more. Not against brothers, but against an empire that ruled the waves. Empires rise not in peace, but in storms. By the dawn of the 19th century, the Ashanti Empire had become a force none could ignore. From the coast to the savannah, traders whispered their name with awe and fear. Gold flowed through Kumasi like sunlight. Drums beat with pride, but shadows began to gather, not from within Africa, but from across the sea. For centuries, Europeans had watched from the coast. First the Portuguese, then the Dutch, now the British. They came for gold, ivory, and control. At first, they dealt through trade, but when they realized the Ashanti were too powerful to dominate, they began to plot their downfall. The first major clash came in 1824. The British sought to humble the Ashanti, to prove their might with muskets and cannons. But the forest was not theirs. It belonged to the spirits and to those who knew its whispers. When the smoke cleared, the British commander, Sir Charles McCarthy, lay dead. His skull, legend says, was later lined with gold and used as a drinking cup, a symbol of the cost of arrogance in Ashanti land. Though victorious, the Ashanti knew peace was fragile. They were not savages. They were diplomats, philosophers, rulers. Trade resumed, alliances shifted, and for a time the forest calmed. But across the Atlantic, the British Empire was growing more ambitious. And in London, men who had never set foot on African soil began planning the destruction of Kumasi. In 1874, the British returned, this time with vengeance, better weapons, and fire. They bombarded Kumasi, looted its treasures, and set the sacred city aflame. The city that once shone like gold now burned like a funeral pyre. But the soul of the Ashanti, the Golden Stool, was never found. And so, though the city fell, the nation's spirit lived. In 1896, the British forced the Ashanti king, Prempeh I, into exile. They thought the empire was finished. They were wrong. For in the heart of Kumasi, a new voice rose, a voice of thunder, a queen of defiance. Her name would be remembered forever, Yaa Asantewaa. When the British demanded the Golden Stool, the very soul of the Ashanti, Yaa Asantewaa, rose to speak. Her words became a flame that set history ablaze. If you, the men of Ashanti, will not go forward, then we, the women, will. We will fight for our Golden Stool till the last of us falls on the battlefield. The War of the Golden Stool, 1900, began. The final stand of a proud people against the world's mightiest empire. The Ashanti fought with unmatched courage, but British guns, cannons, and reinforcements finally broke their defense. Yaa Asantewaa was captured, yet she never bowed. In exile, she remained the symbol of resistance, a mother of warriors, a queen of courage. The Golden Stool was never surrendered. No British hand ever touched it. It remained untouchable, sacred, eternal. The Ashanti Empire had been broken by fire, but never by spirit. They rose again, rebuilding, reuniting, until they became part of a new nation, Ghana. Yet the heartbeat of the Ashanti still echoes. In every kente cloth, every drumbeat, every festival, the old empire still speaks. We are the children of the Golden Stool. We do not fall. We rise again. Centuries have passed since the fires of war, yet the heartbeat of the Ashanti still echoes, steady, proud, and unbroken. The empire that once ruled the forest with wisdom and power did not vanish into dust. It transformed, from kingdom to colony, from colony to a nation reborn, Ghana. In 1957, the dream of freedom finally returned to the land. Kwame Nkrumah stood before the world and proclaimed, "Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever." But beneath that declaration lay centuries of spirit, the same fire that once blazed in Osei Tutu, the same defiance that lived in Yaa Asantewaa. The Ashanti Empire had become part of a new story, a story of unity, of identity, of African pride reborn. The Golden Stool still sits at the heart of Ashanti culture. Never to be sat upon, never to be touched, only to be honored. It remains a living covenant, a reminder that power is not only in armies or kings, but in spirit, unity, and purpose. Even now, no Ashanti king rules without its blessing. No law stands above it. It is the soul of a people who refuse to kneel, not before kings, not before empires, not before time itself. To understand Ashanti legacy is to feel rhythm in the blood. Their drums speak in sentences. Their cloths tell stories. Their proverbs carry the weight of empires. If you do not know where you are going, look at where you came from. This is not just tradition. It is instruction. Every color, every drumbeat, every carving keeps the ancestors alive. The Ashanti spirit flows through modern Ghana, in courage, enterprise, creativity, and pride. It reminds Africa that identity is power, that our ancestors were not primitive. They were architects of civilization. From art to governance, from religion to trade, the Ashanti showed that African greatness was never borrowed. It was born here. Today, the Ashanti kingdom still lives, not as an empire of conquest, but as a kingdom of heritage. The Asantehene, custodian of the Golden Stool, is not just a king, he is a living bridge between the past and the future. His words echo what Osei Tutu once dreamed, that an African people, united in pride and purpose, can never truly fall. From the forests of Kumasi to the hearts of millions, the Ashanti Empire teaches us one truth, that nations built on spirit never die. Empires crumble, kings fade, but the soul of a people, if guarded with honor, lives forever. We are the children of the Golden Stool. We were never conquered, we were only reborn. If this story moved you, remember that our history is not a relic, it is a flame. Keep it burning, share it, speak it, protect it. Subscribe, like, comment, share, as we continue to tell the forgotten stories of Africa, from empires to kingdoms, from ashes to glory.